Hello, everyone. Today, we're walking you through the entire epidemiology research process, from hypothesis to conclusion. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of the steps involved in conducting robust epidemiological research. So, let's get started. Whether you're conducting your first study or looking to refine your research skills, understanding the full research process is critical to success. Let's break it down into digestible steps. Everything starts with a solid research question. In epidemiology, your question should be specific and address a public health issue. Once you have your question, it's time to develop a hypothesis, which is essentially an educated guess about the relationship between variables in your study. For example, if your research question is, does increased screen time affect sleep quality in adolescents? Your hypothesis might be, adolescents with more than 3 hours of screen time per day are more likely to have poor sleep quality. Your hypothesis should be testable and guide the direction of your research. Next up is selecting the appropriate study design. This depends on your research question and the type of data you need to collect. The most common study designs in epidemiology include cohort studies, case control studies, and cross-sectional surveys. A cohort study follows a group of people over time. A case control study compares individuals with and without a specific outcome, and a cross-sectional survey looks at a population at a single point in time. Each design has its strengths and limitations, so choose the one that best fits your hypothesis and available resources. Now that you have your design, it's time to define your study population. This involves specifying who you'll include in your study and who you'll exclude. You also need to decide on your sampling method, which could be random sampling, convenience sampling, or another method. Your sample needs to be representative of the larger population you're studying. For example, if you're studying sleep quality in adolescents, your sample should include adolescents from diverse backgrounds, not just those from a single school or community. With your population and sampling method in place, it's time to collect your data. Data collection methods can vary widely depending on your study design and research question. You might use surveys, interviews, medical records, or even biological samples. Make sure your data collection process is standardized to minimize bias. For instance, if you're conducting interviews, ensure that each participant is asked the same set of questions in the same manner. Once you have your data, the next step is analysis. This is where you test your hypothesis. Depending on the type of data you've collected, you might use descriptive statistics, inferential statistics, or advanced methods like regression analysis. For example, if your hypothesis is about the relationship between screen time and sleep quality, you might use a regression analysis to see if there's a statistically significant association between the two variables. After analyzing your data, it's time to interpret the results. What do they mean in the context of your hypothesis and the broader public health issue? Did your results support your hypothesis, or was it refuted? Remember, even if your hypothesis isn't supported, that doesn't mean your research isn't valuable. In epidemiology, negative findings can be just as important as positive ones in shaping our understanding of public health issues. Finally, you'll draw your conclusions. Summarize the key findings from your research, discuss the implications, and provide recommendations for future research or public health policy. This is also where you address the limitations of your study. Your recommendations should be based on your findings and could range from suggesting further research to proposing changes in public health interventions or policies. For instance, if you find that increased screen time is linked to poor sleep quality, you might recommend public health campaigns aimed at reducing screen time in adolescents. And that's the epidemiology research process from hypothesis to conclusion. To recap, the key steps are defining your research question, choosing a study design, selecting your population, collecting data, analyzing your results, and drawing conclusions. Following this structured approach will help you conduct rigorous and impactful epidemiological research. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like and share it with others who might benefit. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment with any questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future videos. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.